Yes, we are live. Mr. Chooks, over to you.
Morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're connecting from us from. This is the Swift Institute live session. If you've been following on this channel, you know that we have this live session every Thursday where we bring in amazing guests from different spheres of life to come and share um, from their wealth of experiences. Today, we have a special guest with us here today in the person of Udoji Adeze Nancy. But she's widely known as Consult with Ada. She's a HR consultant with deep experience in talent management, organizational development, and she has everything that you need to know about business strategy. And we're so opportune to have her here today. She works at the intersection of performance, perception and advancement, which is exactly what this conversation is going to be about today. And I'm not here alone. I'm here with my co-founder, Mr. Victor, as always. Mr. Victor, how are you today?
I am very well. So glad to be here today.
Good. And Miss Nancy, glad to have you. Can you say hi to everyone that's on this platform this moment?
Hi, hello everyone. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for having me on board. Thank you, sir. Shooks, gracious. Thank you, Mr. Victor. I really appreciate it. God bless you.
Thank you so much. All right. So, Victor, I would hand over to you before I come back.
Awesome. Um, it's such a great honor to be here again. And today's session is for professionals who have become reliable, who have become trusted with more work, right? With more pressure, with more expectations, but somehow there seems to be no clear, promotion, no title movement, no real advancement. And this is what we are here to talk about today. At some point, you need to start asking yourself, why am I getting more work? That should not be the real question. And the real question should be, is this work positioning me for advancement, or is it consuming me? This is what we want to talk about today. Those type of real conversations where you really need to sit down and ask, I am in this company, I'm in this organization, and yes, it shows I'm valuable, they're giving me more work, but I'm not seeing advancement that is equal to the kind of work I am being given. So this is the type of conversation we are having today. And yeah, Mr. Chooks, I would like you to have the first crossover with Miss Nancy. Over to you, Mr. Chooks.
So, I appreciate that. What you just said, it's a crucial problems that professionals are having in this dispensation. So, and we have a professional here with us that will help us clear the air in all these um, situationship that people are into. So, I want to start by asking Miss Nancy. We've had opportunities where people consult with us, I and Victor, individually and collectively. And one of the questions that come to the mind often is why do some people keep getting more responsibilities but no promotion? So they feel that they're giving them more work to do, but they're not climbing up the ladder. So we want to know, because you're a professional in this field, we want to know, our guests that are watching us this moment want to know what is usually happening beneath the surface that these workers don't know or professionals don't know. They keep getting workload on them, but they don't see themselves climbing up the ladder. So, can you elaborate a little bit for everyone that's on this platform? What is happening beneath them that they don't quite understand? Thank you so much. Over to you, Nancy.
Okay, you're muted, Nancy.
You're still muted. I think she's having a little issue with her network. So we just will just hold it. So, Victor, um, this is quite a situation that a lot of people are into, that they find themselves in an organization, and often they have this backload of responsibilities being given to them, and because of it, they feel so excited about this opportunities and responsibility given to them, but they don't see the promotion coming
Mhm.
as a result of these responsibilities. In your own view, from your years of experience and from consulting, what can you say it's happening beneath these individuals, these professionals that they don't really understand?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, at the organizational level, there's something I always like to talk about, which is the different ladders that people actually operate. You know, and I've had this experience personally, and one of them is people who operate at the task level. They have become so proficient at handling tasks. And you know, in every organization, there are people who create the task and there are people who carry out the task, you know. And what people actually need, the people who are indispensable in an organization are people who create tasks. Why? Because the tasks they create are, you know, components of the long goal, the components of the vision, different, you know, stages of operation in the vision, you know. So, and if someone becomes proficient at handling task alone, you will always be someone who they will be creating more tasks for. And this situation is actually very dangerous because you will feel like, you know, they are giving me more work, and it's because they are recognizing my work that I'm doing. That means I'm doing something very important. You know, I'm the only one. They are doing that because you have made yourself the task man in that particular place. Your contribution is not adding to, you know, the decision levels of, you know, management of visionaries of the organization. So most people actually get to pile up task and work on themselves, you know. And I'm saying this because I have some personal experience with this also. And it took me years to be able to come to this realization that I was not contributing to the decision level of the organization. I was not contributing to what moves the organization forward in terms of strategies. I was just the man that when they have their decision, I just execute. It's not bad, but you are someone who they will just keep giving work and you will not move forward because you are not contributing to the big picture. How about you? Talk to us. What has been your experience in this particular area, Mr. Chooks?
Yeah, it's been phenomenal like that, because some people
Plenty.
usually think that um they usually think that what makes them to be recognized in an organization is the level of responsibilities that are being given. So they
Mm,
wear that as a garment, as a badge, and they remain at a certain level. Okay, and because they keep giving them more work, more responsibility, they feel they are relevant in that organization. But at the end of the day, you find out that you're not being promoted. The guys who don't even do more work in quote like you do are the ones climbing up the ladder. So I've
mm,
had people come to me for consultation and they tell me a whole lot of things about it. And I tell them that if you're being piled up with responsibility, that doesn't show that you're going to be promoted. That's not the yardstick for promotion. So, Nancy, I'm sorry. I know you've been having some glitch over your
mm.
network. Now you're back with us. Can you please speak with us, Nancy? Welcome back.
Okay, I'm so sorry about the network.
No
I'm so
problem.
sorry. I didn't know it would go this bad. You asked a question why professionals are being given much work without promotion, right? Am I right? And
Yes.
okay, fine. They're not being promoted even when they're given extra responsibilities. There are many reasons why it happens that way. And first, yes, they are trusted with the responsibilities. They know they can deliver. That is one reason they're giving much work. They can deliver, because you can only hand over responsibility to someone that you know that can produce result. So they know they can produce result quite all right. But one of the reasons why they cannot be promoted, even with the extra promotions, is they are I want to look for a perfect way to put it. First of all, you don't position yourself for the promotion as a professional. Now, you're given extra responsibility, but you don't position yourself to be promoted. The responsibility does not come with you being visible. You're not being visible. You didn't seek for clarity. You didn't ask the proper questions. You just pick up a responsibility without asking questions to know what is the end product of that responsibility. So, because it has to be visible before the decision makers for you to be able to gain promotion. So you don't just jump into a responsibility without asking the proper question. Let us know how I want to understand with all clarity the scope of the work, the results needed from me, and the time frame, and if it will be documented, if it will be documented. Are you getting it? So because when you don't ask the necessary questions, it shows that you're just being available to do the work, but you're not working with strategy. You're not being strategic about that work. So for you to get promotion, you need to be strategic about the responsibility. When you're not strategic, you will not be promoted. So because they're not strategic, they don't have something in view. They are not communicating their value through their work. They're just there doing an extra job without communicating value. So you might be seen running around, doing this, doing that, but you're not actually selling your value to the organization. So you'll not be promoted. You're not open to discuss what next, what comes with this job. So you feel like, okay, you don't have to talk about it. You imagine that they should already know. You assume, because sometimes professional stays in the place of assumptions. The management should know that you should be promoted after doing this work, but it is not so. When you don't communicate your value, when you don't openly discuss what comes with a job, then you can't be promoted. You'll be kept where you are. You're busy doing the job, and the job is there keeping you at a particular spot. So that is part of the reasons why they're not being promoted. They're just there. They're just stuck with extra responsibilities, no clarity, no definition. Just doing the job. No strategy. You have nothing in mind. You're just delivering the job. So that's just it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Nancy, this is amazing because Victor, you almost everything she was saying was in alignment with our scope in the Swift Institute. She was saying about clarity,
Absolutely.
about positioning, and these are the bedrock of the Swift Institute. Nancy, you're just hitting the nail on the head this moment, getting a lot of insight from you. Bert, I wanted to push a little further before I hand over to Mr. Victor. You said something that is very unique and strategic. You said about the professional positioning him or herself, because that is why they're not getting promoted, because they are not positioned rightly. And you also said something about them doing a whole lot of work without defining what they are doing. Like, it's called, for us in Swift, to call it identity. All right, so I wanted to outline to somebody who is here tonight or this afternoon or this morning, wherever they're connected from, that is stuck in this particular predicament. He or she is a professional. She's doing a great work, but from what Nancy is saying now, she found out that she's invisible, and she's not defining what he or she is doing. So can you outline to us what this person can do starting from today to actually position him or herself and be visible for promotion? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Shooks. Okay. There are things that you can do for you to be visible, for promotion to be promoted. Um, while you're doing an extra responsibility, it is important um, to make sure that the responsibilities you're doing are building skills for you. That's the necessary skills that will be an added advantage to the company. So should you not end up doing works, extra jobs, but they're not building the right skills that will take you to the next level of your career, the next role that will take you higher. So you can't be just here and there, and you're just there stuck in the.
Sorry about that. Victor, can you continue from where she stops until she connects back, please?
Absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things from what she was even talking about that I got so well was about the fact that people are not being positioned, even though they are, handling a lot of responsibilities. Now that looks like,
That's amazing.
a paradox. Right? You are there in the midst of
You
all
are
of these
there, you're there, but you're not
responsibilities.
there.
You are there, but you're not there.
Correct.
you know and there are times where you go home, you are falling under the weight of the job you're having to do, even physically, and it still happens that you are still not positioned for responsibility. And that leads me to this point that I want to talk about, that being trusted is not the same as being positioned. The fact that you are being trusted and given more responsibilities does not mean that you are being positioned. And there's one very important thing about positioning, and actually, this is the core. This is where we stand at the Swift Institute. We help to position high capacity individuals who are working below their level. And that is why, if there's anything we have as a summary, it's positioning. Positioning, I remember we were on this show the last time, and then Dr. Amilo was talking about signals. While you are delivering this job, what kind of signals are you giving? What kind of perception are you intentionally creating? You know, some people can be even under the weight of the job, and being taken by the stress of the job makes them, their attitude alone goes off. They are not, signing off, but their attitude at work, they are not being intentional about, even the way they carry themselves, the way they talk around, the way they respond even to people at their level or decision makers. They are grumbling and all of that. All these things are very, very important. They are very, very important. And yes, I want us to still talk about this point about being trusted, not the same as being positioned. Mr. Talk to us. What does that mean to you?
For me, it's like a paradox. You are trusted, but you are not positioned. Okay, so you work in a firm, and over time, because of the reputation you've put up over time, based on previous responsibility you've been given and in quote you delivered, they trust you. They know you can do the work. But trusting you doesn't mean you're positioned for promotion. Like Nancy was saying previously before she went out, that there's some skills that are needed for a particular level, a particular position in an organization. And no matter how well you are being trusted by that organization, you can't be given that position. You can't be promoted to that position unless you have the required skills to function at that level. So you see a professional that been in a field. Let me take, for instance, you've been in the advertisement company, and your role is you are a HR for advertisement, and you've been doing your work very well, you've been delivering very well, and then this company wants to scale up because of the demands on them. And then they need some skills that has to do with AI, and you don't have it, but you are good at what you do. Okay, you're good at doing the adverts, but they're trying to scale up because of the demands on them. And then there's this new guy that just got hired like a few months ago, but he has some certification on AI. He's mastered some AI tools. And then you come to this conference and we're talking, and they were like, we want to scale up because of the demand from our customers, our clients all over the world. Please, we want to know this next role we want to give is for those who have some mastery in some AI tools. Please, do you have mastery in? And they keep asking, and you are the one, you've been on this job for a long time. And they throw that question at you, and you tell them that you don't even know what AI is all about. You don't even know what it is all about. And by saying that, even though previously from the work you've been doing, they trust you, they know you're a trusted person, but because you don't have the skills that are needed for this very level, which is AI skill. Now they're going to promote this guy that just came around 2 months ago and leave you, not because you are not being trusted, but because you're not skilled enough. So the skill that you acquire, like Nancy rightly said, positions you for the next promotion role. So if you're not skilled enough, you can't get that position. It's not that they don't trust you. Trust is there, but skills are what scales you up, if I'll put it that way. So when you're given a responsibility, like Nancy rightly said, you need to use it as an avenue to boost yourself, boost your skill, learn new things, so that when the next call is being made, you will be overqualified for it. So, Victor, like you asked me, being trusted doesn't mean you are rightly positioned. Okay, so trust is a result of previous experiences you've had. So if you've delivered based on responsibility that's given to you in the past in an organization, they trust you for what you've been doing. But if there's a call for scaling up and you don't have the required skills, even though you're being trusted, they won't give it to you. They'll give it to the person that has the skill set to deliver the job. Okay, so Nancy, we understand that where you're connecting up from is from Africa, and we know. So it's not the first time it's happening on our platform. We totally understand what's happening. So we understand you. So I'm going to be throwing this question to you, and I spoke to Victor about this, and you actually hinted it a little bit, but I want you to elaborate. How can someone or a professional tell when an extra work or responsibility that's given to him or her workload transfer? The person has been given more responsibility, a workload, or an opportunity for growth. What are those things that the person will see in this new responsibility given to him or her, and the person can decode that, no, this is a training point platform for me to grow and acquire more skill, or this is just a bunch of workload they're adding up on me? All right, over to you, Nancy. I think your mic is muted. I think you're muted. No, it's still muted. We can hear you. I think she's having a little glitch. Victor, before she reconnects.
All right. Okay. Is she back?
Oh, yeah, she's back, but we can hear you. We can hear you, Nancy. No, we can't hear you. I think you're muted. No, it's still muted.
Maybe you can go off and reconnect again. Something might be wrong.
Maybe you can try reconnecting. Just try it again. You can just try and go off and reconnect. All right. All right, Victor, over to you.
Beautiful. One of the beautiful things we have been talking about on this conversation also is the fact that more responsibility without clarity is career stagnation. And Nancy rightly touched on that also, about the fact that if you are taking more work and then you are not even getting clarity as to what is expected of you in this job, having such kind of strong conversations is very, very important. And it just so happens that in the workplace, so many people don't, maybe they are shy, or they are just head bent on, let me just do what they say I should do. But it's most times it's a very, very critical thing to do, having such kind of discussions. When this type of work is given to you, what is the requirement? Where is it going? Does it fall in the line of what you can do? Does it fall in the line of what you can deliver? Most times I think I've had that experience before in the workplace, where someone was given a responsibility, right? Rightly handling something else already. But it just so happens that he was, assuming the expectations of that particular responsibility being given to him. So it created conflict. Why? Because you are not having clarity on what is expected from that place, and you want to drive with your own direction. And I think who said that? Somebody said something very phenomenal that I would like to talk about right now. And he said, every role, every office has a designed expectation by the leadership. So it's not okay for you to drive a particular role with what you think. It's got to be driven by what the leadership wrote or set for that role. And most times when we talk about positioning, when we talk about signals, these are the things we are talking about. Are you working off the script of the people who you're working for? Because everything they design, every role that they design is according to the visions, according to the strategies per time. And clarity, having this type of discussions with your boss, with your superior, is very, very important. You're given a job, ask questions like, okay, what exactly do you expect from this job? Okay, this is what I think. Is it correct with what is expected in this job? I don't know if you've seen people who run away from this type of conversations before, Mr. Chooks. Talk to us about this.
Yes, I've had those situation, bro. The most important ones are people like you said who assume they know what the company needs to do at a particular time. Often they are the ones who've stayed in the company for quite a long time. So they become familiar with the company that they don't know when the company is canceled. They don't know when the company change their modus operandi, how they do stuff. They don't know because they've been used to how things are done in the past. Nancy, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Perfect, you're clear. Nancy, come on, wake up. All right, cool. So you can. So over to you, Nancy.
Yes, I can. Okay.
So I asked the question previously that when can a professional distinguish from when a responsibility given to him or her is an opportunity to grow, to develop skills and scale up, and when those responsibilities given on to the person is like a backload of jobs that are not going to help him in any way in his career. How can they distinguish between these two?
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Shooks. How they can be able to distinguish if this responsibility will lead to a promotion is first, it will make you very visible. It will make you very, very visible. When the responsibility, when you're just having workloads that doesn't position you rightly, just like I said earlier, that doesn't make you visible to the decision makers, because they are the OGs in the industry, they are decision makers. So if it doesn't make you visible to the decision makers, then your promotion is at stake. You cannot promote because you are not seen. So it should be able to make it visible. And secondly, I will say that it should be able to build up the right skills that you need, that will take you to the next level, the promotion that you seek for. So, and you should be able to, there should be discussion from the management, from the side of the management. So because you can't be handed a responsibility without discussion. So they should be able to tell you, this is the reason why we are giving you this extra role, because we are preparing you for the next position. So each comes with something. So it is not just you doing an extra job, it's you being visible, and the job come with its package. It should be able to how would I put it, give you value. Like, it's giving you value. It's giving you, it's attaching a title to you. Like, you're being treated differently. So you're not just doing a job and you're treated the same way. You're given an extra responsibility and you're treated the same way that you're being treated. So there is no added value to your side as a professional. So you know that this is not up for promotion. But once there's an added value, once there's a special treatment, you're treated with value. It comes with an attachment to your name, with a title to you. You know that definitely you are up for a promotion. So when you look out for things like that, the value it gives, the visibility it gives, the skills it builds, because why they're giving that responsibility to you, they have something in mind. Is either to give you a workload that will keep you just there doing the job because you're available, or they're giving you a responsibility that will push you to the next role, to the next level of your career. So these are the two things in their mind. So you should be able to know that, is this work keeping me visible? Is it building the right skills, like the AI skills? Is it making me grow in my career field? Is there growth in it? Because when there is no growth, because not all responsibilities can make you grow, it can keep you just stagnant. You're there, you're doing a whole lot of work, you're jumping from pillar to post. Today you are the administrator, tomorrow you are the cashier, the next day you are in the production department. You are just moving from pillar to post to pillar. Like, it is not actually building a particular skill that will lead you to the next role. So you cannot be good at what you do if you are just being everywhere with every job. So you'll be able to find out, is this thing promoting my skill? Is it helping my career? Is it positioning me for growth? If you ask yourself those questions and answer them rightly, then you'll be able to know if you're just being given a workload or if you're being positioned to be promoted. So thank you very much.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Nancy. Um, I think that's worthy of note. I just want to take you back to something that you talked about when you were having your introduction, right? And you did talk about documentation, right? That some people, go through these things without documenting their value. You did talk about something like that, and somebody once said something very important. I said, if you don't document it, it did not happen, right? And there's also this conversation of, how do I communicate my value, without sounding arrogant? Some people are under that particular fear of, let me just take the walk. If I talk now, they will say I am just being arrogant. I want to ask that question right now. How can someone communicate added value without sounding arrogant?
And Nancy, just hold on before you answer that. I want to add a question to that, Victor, so that she can tie the two together, if you permit me. Victor, do you permit me?
Awesome. Yes, go ahead.
All right, cool. All right, so Nancy, in causing out with what Victor asked, there's a particular concern that professionals have, and it's just the same thing. It's just similar to what Victor said, but it's in another dispensation. How can a professional showcase him or herself that she's ready for promotion without sounding as if she's fronting herself or he's fronting herself? That's what Victor said in another way. But there's other people that say, I've been in this company for a while. You see, they don't value me. Somebody just came and they promoted this person. But you've been there, you're not really saying it that you need to be promoted. And as you said something, that you can actually position yourself to be seen. So you are a professional in this field. Tell us, how can a professional make him or herself visible for promotion, like selling him or herself out without sounding as if she is buying or he is buying a favor or trying to outshine other people? Just tie what Victor asked you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Shooks. Thank you so much, Mr. Victor. Okay, okay, as a professional, you don't want to sound arrogant. You don't want to you want to position yourself to be seen, to make them understand that you're due for promotion, you're fit for promotion, and you don't want to sound arrogant. So there are ways you can do that, because it's not just, like I said, it's not just you doing the job, it's a value. The job you're doing, it gives the value you give the job, the way you do your job, it what counts. It's not about doing a whole job, but the way you do it. So first, when I talked about documenting what you do, it is very important. Like, every week you can decide to send a mail about what you've achieved so far with a particular task. You are selling yourself. You are positioning yourself.
Mm.
So if you're able to update your managers, update the management, update them through mail about what you don't just come to say, okay, I'm in the HR field. I can't just come to say I'm able to lead a particular team. To You're sounding so shallow. You should be able to communicate the result or the impact you made with that responsibility. Like I when I stepped into the HR department, I became a team leader. I became a team lead, and I was able to implement, bring in some policies, HR policies. I was able to run the department effectively. I was able to come up with a workable KPI. So you sell yourself. You always update the management, the things that you do. So that is how you didn't actually communicate your promotion, but indirectly you have communicated that you needed one.
Mm. Mm.
Indirectly you have communicated because you're updating them. So they like being updated. So you are always updating your achievements so far. The problems you are able to solve in the department. You are indirectly communicating that you are up for promotion, that you need to be promoted. So it's not about the much work that you do, but it's how different you do the work. So that's why I say communication is key. So communicate via email, document it. Make sure it's documented. Let it be in on your record that you are able to come up with a workable, something workable for an HR, workable KPI, or something that added value and aligned with the values of the organization. So it is very important. So with that, you didn't ask, you didn't say anything arrogantly about, I have been here for a very long time, you have to promote me. It's not about you being there. Some people are there. Some people have been doing job. They've been working for the past 10 years, the particular company, without promotion, because they've not done something differently with what they do. So what have you done differently? That should be the question you should ask yourself. So when you're doing something differently, I was able to something happened, and two persons were given a particular task. Two employees, are professionals, were given a particular same task. I saw the video, and yes, I said this is what it should be. What was the task? Go downstairs, get me what is happening downstairs. Why was this task given? Before it was given, someone was promoted. One of them was promoted. And the other started complaining, I've been doing a lot of jobs in this company, and why wasn't I promoted? And this person just worked in barely few years and picked up the promotion. So the manager said to reply, but he replied wisely. He now gave the both of them same task. Now, he first of all called the first lady and said, go downstairs and get me the information going down there. I said, what is happening downstairs? I'm hearing noise. Just go downstairs. So she went downstairs. She came up and she said there was an accident. I'm using this as an instance. There was an accident.
Oh no, just wanted to hear that story, Victor.
I think we lost her to the network again.
Yeah, she was trying to make a very important point there.
Yeah.
So from what she said, we can deduce that you can actually set up your promotion, but not saying it verbally, based on the work you
Absolutely.
do and documentation that you do based on the work that you do. So I think that's the point that Nancy
Absolutely.
is trying to make, and that's an important. So if you're here connected with us and you're professional and you're wondering why you're not being promoted, even though you're doing a whole lot of work, maybe it is that you're not documenting all that you're doing and you're not sending it to the right people that you should send it to. That is where the decision is being made. The decision makers of your organization, they don't see you're not visible to them. Even if you're visible, the work you do is not clear. So there's no clarity in the work you do. It's not written clearly. It's not documented that this work was performed by this time, by this time, by this person, and look at the outcome of the work that you did. Without doing that, you might not likely get promoted. Victor, over to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. You know, while she was talking, she did mention the fact that people, I think mostly about that story that she was trying to, talk about giving to people. You know, I've always had this about how you do your work, and I think she was actually trying to hit that point also. How you do your work. I think that's a very, very important thing because, like you said, there are people who get used to an organization, they get used to the role, and there is no creativity anymore to what they are doing. They have the strength to keep on doing what they are doing, but there is no more, there's no more life, there is no more, let me call it source to what they are doing anymore. And that is actually something very, very important. How do you keep yourself going, where every day you are able to add something new? Every day you are able to, make your output increase the quality of your output. I think that's a very, very important conversation to have. She was trying to work on that point also about how you perform, and that's a very, very important conversation to have. What do you think about that?
Victor, based on what you're saying, I think this is actually one of the problems that Nokia faced. If you know the company called Nokia, not really Nokia, BlackBerry stole the market when it comes to mobile chatting. So they were the best. Then we have something like ping. You give somebody your ping so they can ping you and thereabout. And they didn't care about other mobile communication companies spranging up. So BlackBerry thought that they were the only ones that are going to be in the market forever. So they didn't scale up, they didn't develop themselves. Out of nowhere, these guys called Samsung came out with Android operating system. And even though BlackBerry were still in the market, gradually these guys crept in and took over that market from them. They became obsolete. You know why, Victor? Because they were doing the same thing they usually do. And they feel that because they have the market of the mobile company, everybody will keep on pinging, not knowing that Samsung has gone ahead of them and they took over the market from them. Like before Nokia could even recover from it, they were off the market as big as they were. So some of these professionals, they remain adamant in a particular career path without developing themselves. So it's not about the organization not trying to promote you, but you are obsolete. The skills you have are just obsolete. It's like Nancy is in HR. Imagine you're hiring a secretary and over the years, she keeps using this manual typewriter. I don't know how many. I don't know how. I don't know. Like I don't know. Like I used to see the pictures. When I was my first degree, the thought was that in computer. Victor, you know that you're a computer scientist. This secretary up to now, Nancy, in her CV that she gave to you, you saw her. She wrote there. She can type 300,000 words with manual typewriter. You'll be like, what? Are you okay? So there are some people who are like that, even up to now. They are murmuring, wondering why they're not being promoted, but they don't know that their skill has become obsolete. Like the world has gone ahead of them, so they can't be hired. Now, we want to hear that story. Like I and Victor and everybody on this platform want to hear that story. So over to you. You need to complete that story.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Shrix. Okay, so just like I was saying, she went downstairs. She just got the information. So people were actually, there was an accident. There was an accident. That was what happened. So, and the boss was like, okay, and who are involved in the accident? She ran back. She went downstairs again to get the information of people involved in the accident. She came back, she answered the people involved. Okay, did you know what caused the accident? She went down again. And that's like a 4-story building or 5-story building. And she was going down at every question. Now, when he was done asking her the questions, now he called in the second person that was promoted, and said, okay, I want you to go downstairs and find out what is happening downstairs. So she went downstairs. She collected the whole information needed. People involved, who, what, when, how. She came up, and immediately she was asked what happened. She gave the whole information. Now, if you compare those two people, the other person worked hard. The first person worked hard, going down, up and down, up and down. Of course, it's hard work. It's not easy to go down the stairs, up and down. Now, the second person that got the promotion worked smartly. So sometimes professional things, working hard equals promotion. No. Because you work hard doesn't mean you should be promoted. But how smart you work, how strategic you work. Just like I heard you talking about people that are still in analog when we're in the era of digital era and you're still analog. So there's no how you'll be able to employ or promote someone. You've been working on this for the past 15 years, but you did not upgrade your skills. You don't know what is the trends in the market, in the labor market. You don't know the trends. So in the era where artificial intelligence has taken over, you're expected to work smartly. Even in my field as a human resources consultant, you have to make use of AI tools that will aid the work. So I can't keep sitting down. I'm still working with Excel. Now it's head work. By the time you're done running the payroll with Excel, you've done that for like a week. But when AI takes over on HR software, which is like an AI tool, takes over, you do that under 2 hours. So people are, for you to be promoted as a profession, you should be able to flow with the trends in the market, in the labor market, upgrade your skills, do the smart work, do a strategic work. So this work, your results will be the one to speak for you in the place of promotion, because the results you are getting are adding value to the organization. So you're not there drawing them behind, using your analog skills. So everybody, every manager wants people that are improving themselves, and it cannot be hidden. Results cannot be hidden. Results makes you visible. It makes you stand out. So because you're working hard doesn't equal you being promoted. But what you do with that responsibility, with that extra work, what you do with it strategically and smartly will take you to the place of promotion. That is very important. So you don't need to, sometimes you don't need to ask. You just have to do the job differently. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nancy, for such an insightful session. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a great session with Ms. Udoji Adeze Nancy, a HR consultant. And I want to say a very big thank you for such insightful session so far. As we round up, I just want to ask this last question as we just round up. Just give us your final words on this. When should a professional say yes or no to an added responsibility or negotiate? When should a professional do that as we round up?
Okay, when you should say the yes to another responsibility as a professional, when the responsibility is clearly defined, is strategic for you, it will take you to the next role. You know that the responsibility that are given to you will help build up skills that will help you, that will help your career, that will promote you. You say yes. And if the responsibility as well is coming with a pay, with a raise in your salary, because nobody says no when there is a raise in the salary. So you should be able to say yes, yes, everybody wants money. So you should be able to say, of course, there's a raise. If it's coming with an added title, you should be able to say yes. You know, this is for your good, this is for your growth. Then say yes. You can't say no. So when you should negotiate, if there is no clear definition of what this responsibility should take you to, you're just handed over a responsibility to do this, and you're kept in the dark. And you try coming up with questions, and the questions are being shuffled, like they're being ignored. You know, definitely you're being ignored. There is no clear career path when it comes to that responsibility given to you. There is nothing. So right there, you have to come up with negotiation. Like for instance, one lady approached me and complained to me of what she was going through in her job place, and in her work, and she was employed to be an admin, and along the way, not just is she doing the admin work, she started running some errands, which was not part of the job description. She started cleaning the office at some point. And so I said, okay, you're doing the job of a cleaner, an errand person, admin, an accountant. Like you have so many roles, which was not in the job description at the beginning. So she now asked, what should I do? And the salary is still the same pay. Now I said, at this time around, you need to negotiate, because first it is keeping you stagnant. It's keeping you at a particular spot. You are just there doing other things that doesn't add up to the skills you want to build as an administrator. So you have to go back and negotiate. Since you are working as a cleaner, you're working as this, you're working as an errand person, you're working as an accountant, you're working as a secretary, you're working as a PA, that you travel with the man wherever he's traveling to. So go back to negotiate. So at this particular point in time, she had to go back to negotiate. She called and said this, that, and because you don't have to, these are human beings, and your boss is a human being. So you don't have to be scared of losing your job. But once you are doing your job differently, you know you are adding value, they will be scared to lose you. So sometimes we professionals, we are scared. We don't want to lose our job. Considering being in Nigeria, there is scarcity of job. You know when you are adding value. So you communicate, you go back to communicate that. So she went back, she communicated. At first, the man was like, because sometimes they want to cut personnel costs from their side. The cost of hiring another staff, another employee, they want to cut the cost, and they'll keep you to do every job with same pay. So she went back, she communicated. Because I know she was admin, I said, go and communicate. She went and communicated. I said, sir, please look into this, look into that, look into the pay and my working days. So at first the man fled up, and she looked at me and said, what next? Since he did not, and I said, I know the value you've added. I know the value you've added. So I need you to start withdrawing. Start withdrawing gradually. Focus on what you've been asked to do from the initial, from nowhere to set boundaries. Because sometimes it's not all responsibility should we accept as perfection, especially when you know not that you say no. You have to make them understand first. If I'm to do those works, seeing that I'm doing A and I'm doing B, so which one of them should I deprioritize? So they will know that you know what you're doing. So they'll be demanding for results from every nook and cranny of the jobs that you do. You handed over a responsibility to me, an extra responsibility, and I have A and B responsibilities, so I have to deprioritize one. So communicate it to them. So you not be shocked up with works that they're not adding value, and there is no extra pay. So at the end, she decided to resign since he's not reasoning with her. So she tendered her resignation letter. I smiled. I said, I know the value of either, they'll call you back. Immediately she resigned, she tendered a resignation letter. They might start calling her, no, no, you cannot leave. You cannot resign. No, no, why? Where are you going to? I smiled. I said, now this is time for you to negotiate.
Absolutely.
So when you know you're adding value, you know that you cannot be easily replaced. You're not the first person to work on as an administrator or work as a professional in that company. So, but what you do different is what will be in the memory of the managers, because they know you do it different. You work with different. You work with exceptional. You work with results. So when she called him back, he called her back, and they were able to negotiate. I told her, this is the salary you're going to ask for, and this will be your working day. She followed my instructions, and he agreed. So what does that is, when you know you're giving value, when you know when to negotiate, you know when to say no, to set clear boundaries. So make them understand that you know your worth in all humility. Don't be too quick to say no to accept the job. When you accept the job, ask them to give you clear direction about the job, clear explanation, what they want from the job, the result, and the end product of the job. Ask questions, it will help you. So they know that you know what you're doing, you're professional. So don't just keep silent. Silence is not silence doesn't give you help your career. If I should put it as silence, you keeping mute. You want to be mute, or you want to stay calm, you want to stay humble, so that you will not be judged, so that you will not be, it doesn't help your career growth. It will keep you where you are, because they feel like you don't know what you want. So I believe that you should be able to communicate it, say it with all humility. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nancy, for that beautiful insight. I want to say a very big thank you for joining us tonight. It's been a great pleasure, and it's really, really been insightful. And I'm sure our people will want you to come back again. So, Ms. Nancy, we would love to have you back some other time, okay? All right, everyone, this is the Swift Institute, and here we focus on one specific problem: high capacity individuals who are under leveled because their capacities are not being recognized. So these are the people we are here for, and this is what we are here for. Positioning is our key. I want to say a very big thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. And until we come your way again on Thursday, thank you so much, Nancy, and good night, everyone.
Thank you, Nancy. Glad to meet
Love you.
you.
Good night. Thank you, Mr. Shoes. Good night.